Hello, you wonderful people. For today's video, I want to talk about my thoughts on the newly released trailer for the new Power Rangers movie. If you haven't seen the trailer, I'm gonna include a link in the description down below or include it in one of the cards so you can check it out for yourself. How I personally felt about it though is I really liked it. Now when it comes to this movie, I've kind of not really seen much. I've seen some promotional pictures, like I've seen one or two pictures of them in their Power Ranger suits, but you know, I never really looked at them. I'll kind of go into that a little bit later. Obviously, I've seen Elizabeth Banks as Rita, and I also saw the teaser trailer, but it was like a reaction video. I think it was kind of funny. I think it was Nick and Tim kind of reacted to it. Like it was just kind of showing them like as kids. There was not much, you know, of them as Power Rangers. But before I get really into it, I will let you know that I am one of those people who grew up watching Power Rangers. Obviously, like at the very beginning for me was Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, and I subsequently watched a lot of stuff, other Power Ranger stuff as I was growing up. The last one I actively watched, meaning I tuned in all the time and kept watching like till its completion, was Dino Thunder, which, you know, arguably in my mind, how I've always seen Dino Thunder, and maybe this is blasphemous to a lot of people, but to me, Dino Thunder always reminded me of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Maybe that's also why I liked it a lot. Like, I always liked every other Power Ranger that was in between Time Force, Zeo, SPD, whatever the case may be, whatever Power Ranger it may be. But like I think it really hit that. I guess you could argue at that time it was kind of nostalgia too, because it's like with Dino Thunder they took Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and then they kind of added more to it. I mean, granted, you did have the return of Tommy, which isn't the case of like him just being like, you know, this is like after such a long time he came back as a new Power Ranger, which I mean he technically was a new Power Ranger after Mighty Morphin ended too, but nevertheless, my knowledge of Power Rangers is very sparse because I've forgotten a lot of stuff subsequently since then, especially Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it's the most removed from my head because it's been such a long time. I've not seen it since I was a little kid, and so I'm going into this trailer now like it's not even just nostalgia, because there's a lot of stuff in it that's like, because I don't remember Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that way, a lot of that's kind of like obviously very different. It's not like, oh, this isn't true to the show, because I barely remember the show. There's certain aspects I do remember, but I'll kind of get to that in a little bit. But like first of all, we get them having powers. I don't really remember them having powers in like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show. Like obviously there's the whole martial arts aspect, which we see them training, which I don't ever remember that either. I thought it was just kind of like, oh, they became Power Rangers, they were instantly good at fighting and stuff like that. It's like, no, they're actually going through the paces, they're learning how to fight and everything. But the whole powers thing is kind of why I brought up Dino Thunder, because Dino Thunder is an example. I feel like, oh, like I remember them vividly getting powers in Dino Thunder, because they got these Dino Stones that basically each of the Rangers got specific powers. Like the Red Ranger got super fast, the Blue Ranger had like hardened skin, and the Yellow Ranger kind of had like a Banshee type scream. So them being like super strong and stuff, I instinctively go, oh, it kind of reminded me more of Dino Thunder, but maybe they were particularly strong in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but I just don't remember. But I like what they're doing with it. Like they're showing you their normal lives, which was part of the original show as well. But obviously it's a movie, so it is going to be condensed down. So it's, I mean, personally, I'm thinking it might be like 50-50, like, oh, they're 50% normal kids and the other 50% they're being Power Rangers, but it's hard to say. Just the core concept of like the fact is that they're kind of screw-ups too. I don't even remember if that was kind of the case with the originals, but definitely with this group, they're kind of delinquents, they're kind of troublemakers. So it's like, it's interesting because it's like we got these, I feel like they're very interesting takes on these particular characters. There's a little bit of comedy to it as well. I don't know, just a lot about the trailer kind of took me by surprise, especially like the whole situation of Rita coming after them, like once she ends up attacking one of them in their house, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I know I'm kind of bringing it in, kind of, I'm not trying to compare them or anything, but like Spider-Man, like you had, like in scenes of it, you saw Vulture attacking him as Peter, you know, Peter, like knowing his identity, and it's kind of the same thing of like Rita knows who they are and it's coming after them just in their own homes and stuff like that. Not less that could have been a situation where it was like, oh, they were, who that particular person was dreaming or something, which could be the case. But I don't remember them ever actively getting attacked as, well, you know, it was never a situation, well, unless you add in the whole Tommy situation, that was technically them being attacked at, like, you know, as kids, because you know Tommy was actively going at the same school as them, so they were always like, their enemy was always around the corner. And that's kind of something I want to kind of touch on really quickly, is the whole Elizabeth Banks situation. Is like, as Rita, is like the whole green aesthetic. I mean, obviously, you know, they got their own design in mind, but I could be 100% wrong about this, but I vaguely remember, like, I never really looked into it, but I remember hearing stuff here and there and reading some stuff about apparently, like, maybe they're setting Rita up to eventually become the Tommy of the movies. That basically is like, oh, because, you know, Tommy originally, when he was a Green Ranger, started off as a bad guy and then eventually got turned into a good guy. I mean, then later on became the White Ranger. But it's like, could they be setting Rita up to be like that with the whole green aesthetic? Probably not. It'd be kind of cool, because naturally it's like interesting, because I was like, when I found out Elizabeth Banks was gonna be Rita, I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, just because it's like, you don't, like, it's such a different role for Elizabeth Banks to take on, because like, to me, I've never seen her in like just a bad guy role. Like, the closest I've ever seen was like in that movie she did a while back. I think it was called The Uninvited. I mean, that movie kind of has a twist with that whole situation, so I'm not, you know, if you have never seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. But she kind of plays a quote-unquote bad person in that. So like, but normally you see her in very lighthearted comedy related stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see her kind of take on a new role. So, but if she were to also become a Power Ranger too, that'd be pretty awesome. But you know, I doubt that be a thing, but I mean, who knows. I'm also curious, because I'm not, unless I wasn't paying attention, I don't think I saw it, but I wonder, are there going to be any putties in this? Also, I forgot their names, like the other two main bad guys of Power Rangers. There was the one that kind of had like a dog face, but he wore like gold armor and had wings, and then there was the main guy. I keep thinking in my head Lord Zed, but I'm pretty sure that's probably wrong. I mean, it might be right, but it's like, you know, the red dude had like the metal on his body. Like, I was like, huh. So obviously, like, Rita's the main enemy of this movie. I mean, at least that's the way they're putting it. So is there going to be those two as well, or is that kind of a situation where it's like, oh, like at the end of the movie, they're going to set up future movies with like those as well? I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I hope this movie does well, because it looks pretty cool. Like I said, once again, it's not even just from a nostalgia point of view. It's just like, it's like, you know, from the little bit I remember Power Rangers, it's like a very interesting take. And it's like, even without the aspect of nostalgia added to me, it's like, dude, this is like a superhero movie on its own. And it's kind of like, huh, like, the premise and the way they're going about it, I think is very interesting. Another thing I wanted to comment on also is the way the suits look now. Like, it's just, like, I watched the trailer once, because I don't like watching trailers repeatedly, but I've seen the trailer like, well, technically 1.5 times, but like, the suits, in my opinion, they kind of remind me of, once again, kind of going to Spider-Man a little bit, symbiotes, you know, like Venom and Carnage. They look like they got the same look, and how they form on the Power Rangers. It seems more like a symbiote to me, the way it looks, but maybe that's just because of that one time me fully seeing the trailer, but that's what they kind of remind me of. So, and it seems like that might be how they work too, because they have, the fact is that they can actually open their suits a little bit, kind of revealing their face. Like, I don't ever remember that being a thing with the originals either. So, like, because it was more like a suit and it would be a helmet like that they could pull off, but in this case it seems like it can like they can actually bring up like the mask part of it and reveal their face. So that's pretty cool. Then we also got to look at their Zords. I remember someone saying a while back, they were commenting on the fact of how big the Zords are. It's like, the Zords are like ridiculously big, like, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, from the trailer, I couldn't really tell. Like, the Zords are always big, but in relative scale to the buildings, I guess. But it seems like, you know, in this case, it's like, oh, they're like super big. I don't know. Like, I kind of have to see everything, you know, get more looks at the surroundings. Obviously, you know, there's plenty of people who've probably at this point in time like broken down the trailers, like, oh, there's this and this that I'm probably not covering. I'm not one of those people. I don't like to super analyze trailers, because like I said, I want to go into situations blind. Also, we kind of got our first look at Bryan Cranston as Zordon, which is weird, because it's like, it's such a thing, like, once again, such a detached thing. It's like, I forgot like just what Zordon's whole deal is. Like, oh, just a floating head. Well, I mean, granted, like, you got peeks at Zordon and different stuff, like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, like, saw him outside of his whole situation. And also Alpha, which is weird because Alpha's more alien-like, well, because he always had like a saucer head, but now he's kind of got like alien eyes, and it's not the same voice. So there is that kind of nostalgia thing there, kind of ay. So I do get that. I mean, obviously it's probably gonna be part of the movie, but it's gonna be a different approach to Alpha and stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting. Like even the whole Zordon thing, like, because normally it's like a pillar and that he just pops up in, but it's like there's this giant wall that like his face kind of like forms from, and he can move it around like that. So like I said, it looks cool. Like it'll probably be something that kind of takes a little while getting used to, mainly because it's Bryan Cranston, and it's so crazy to me because it's like, I mean, obviously, like, you know, you can obviously detach it a little bit because you're like, well, Bryan Cranston, you know, you think Malcolm in the Middle dad, but at the same time it's like, I'm sure a lot of people can't help but go like, but that's Heisenberg doing that, you know. It's just like it's such a weird thing subsequently, you know, since he's done Breaking Bad, to see him in, you know, different stuff like that, because it's like anytime you look at him, it's like, I've already seen you as Heisenberg. I can't see you as anything other than Walter White, you know. So I mean, I can, but it's still weird to me to see you as other things. I'm very interested to know who. Obviously the characters are named after the original Power Rangers characters, but like I said, I'm very interested to find out what these iterations of them are like, because I think these characters are obviously going to be very, very different from their, like, you know, the TV show counterparts. I brought up the whole like them being kind of delinquents and troublemakers. I don't know, that, like I said, that could easily have been a part of the original Power Rangers, but it's been such a long time that I don't remember. So I'm super psyched to see what this movie's all about, what it does. Once again, I do hope it does really well. My question to you is, you know, since, you know, hopefully at this point in time, since you're watching this video or whatever, you've seen the trailer, let me know what your thoughts about it is. Do you agree with some of what I've said? Do you disagree? Just let me know what you think about it. Are you interested in seeing the movie at all? Let me know in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.